Tanzania Latest Travel Guidelines reviewed. Stay tuned to learn more. Welcome everyone to Smart Up Travel. I am Ifeanyi. Thank you. Thank you very much. You're far too kind. Thank you. In the last episode, I presented to you, Smart Up Travelers, the latest travel information in regards to entry into the Republic of Tanzania. And from reading the comments from that last episode, it is clear that many people were disappointed. Some of the words that stood out in the comment section were words such as sellout or I'm not coming to Tanzania anymore. These were some of the things people were saying. Well, I know many of you have questions hearing the new travel requirements. And you're asking yourself the question, is it worth coming to Tanzania? Should you go somewhere else? These are some of the things you may be questioning yourself about. Well, may I tell you that you should definitely consider visiting Tanzania. You shouldn't be deterred from the new travel guidelines that I mentioned in the last episode. So on today's episode, we are going to explore some of these new travel guidelines and analyze things in detail to really get a full understanding of whether or not Tanzania will be right for you or any other country in Africa will be right for you. So you want to watch this video till the very end, because by the end of this video, you will have a clear vision with your travel arrangements to come to Tanzania. First of all, let's start on the right foundation. Now, as you know, the world is going through a global pandemic. Now, there have been many theories in regarding the source of this whole pandemic. Some has even gone far to say other theories of what actually is going on. Well, I'm not here to discuss that. But at this juncture, the situation we're facing and experiencing is throughout this whole world, the governments of the world have agreed with the policies and procedure put out by the WHO, the World Health Organization, and governments of the world are now following these policies and implementing them throughout their country, especially in regards to movement of people and travel. The reason why this is important is because many countries that you will wish to travel at this point in time, you will experience similar procedures before entry into the country. This may be you taking a PCR COVID-19 test 72 hours before arrival. You may need to fill out certain forms before arrival. These things are in commonplace. For example, I was reading in the BBC news that in the United Kingdom, there are some countries which are going to be placed in a green list, some countries which are going to be placed in an amber list, and some going to be placed in a red list. Those which are in a red list, if you're coming from those countries, you will have to quarantine at your own cost for up to 14 days. If you're coming from the amber list, you can self-isolate in a residence of your own. And if you're on the green list, then you will allow entry into the country without having to quarantine. And now that's in the United Kingdom. So you can see across the world, various countries have various procedures and policy before you allowed entry into the country. Now, one of the major concerns of many individuals is the fact you have to do an online health surveillance form 24 hours before arrival into Tanzania. So people are making comments along the lines of, well, how are they going to do such when they're coming from such a far place, right? Now let's clear that up real quick, because this is a very straightforward and simple thing to get over. Now, if you're coming to Tanzania, a direct flight, then this shouldn't be an issue for you. When you're on the airport that you're taking off from, you just use the Wi-Fi on the airport and you can fill the form up on your mobile phone. Straightforward as that. If, however, you're not taking a direct flight and you may be doing a layoff in another country, well, when you get to the other country, right, you can use the Wi-Fi there, fill out the form on your phone, right? And then when you take off from that country to Tanzania, then you're covered. It is as simple as that. So this shouldn't be a major concern or stress or headache to you. Another thing people are talking about is the PCR COVID-19 test certificate that needs to be done 72 hours before arrival into Tanzania. Well, this is a standard practice now throughout the world. I can't think of any country now, right, where you don't have to do a COVID-19 test before entry. So that is standard. So you can get your test done 72 hours before you arrive into Tanzania in your respective countries. For individuals who have certain reservations in regards to having anything being put in their nostrils or have any other, discrepancies in regards to the whole test, then you may want to wait a while before you travel. You may want to just wait it out for a bit and see if things change in the not distant future where you don't require a test to enter a country and then you travel. So that all depends up to you. I'm not here to advise anyone on whether or not they should take the test, but that's the situation in regards to worldwide travel. Many countries are asking for a PCR COVID-19 certificate upon entry in the country, and it should be negative. So to smart up travelers listening and watching at this time, the points I've mentioned in the last episode and today are now standard practices in many countries across the world. So if you are thinking of traveling at this present time, these are just some of the things you will have to bear in mind and come to terms with some of the requirements. I don't think you should let this be a major concern or worry to you. From observation, most people who have done their 72 hours COVID-19 PCR tests, right, and it's negative, they usually go through with a breeze. Of course, the line will be longer because, of course, they're doing the rapid COVID-19 test, right? But usually those individuals go through and it's not a problem. Usually, people that really might have a difficult time is people coming from countries with the high COVID-19 variant, right? If there's a lot of cases, a disproportionately large number of cases with this new variant, then usually individuals from those countries usually have a bit of a hard time, right? But this shouldn't be a deterrence to you traveling or visiting Tanzania at this present time. Another thing which stood out to me from many people's comments and reasoning was the fact that Tanzania is sold out now. That's very interesting. Now, Tanzania is known as the United Republic of Tanzania. There are some other major giants in Africa, and let's see how they are really known by. Now, let's look at Nigeria. For example, Nigeria is known as the Federal Republic of Nigeria. South Africa, another major giant on the continent, is known as the Republic of South Africa. Kenya, a neighboring country of Tanzania, is known as the Republic of Kenya. According to Encyclopedia Britannica, a republic is a form of government in which a state is ruled by representatives of the citizens of that particular country. So within many countries on the continent of Africa, there are elections, right? There are various political parties in which the citizens vote for a particular party and they come in power, and that president will rule over the nation for a set period of time, and then there's elections again, right? So that is seen throughout the continent of Africa. But here where things get interesting. Now, the representatives should be sovereign, right? First of all, of the country. And they represent the people. They represent the people. The people put them there, right? That's the whole concept of a republic, really, in the true sense of the word, right? It's a public affair. However, a large percentage of African countries and across the world in the Caribbean and elsewhere are under the Commonwealth. They are known as Commonwealth nations, right? Now, the head of the Commonwealth nations is none other than the Queen of England. And guess who is the Commonwealth chair in office? Now, the chair in office is one of the main leadership positions in the Commonwealth. It's none other than the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Boris Johnson. Why is this important? Well, in the true sense of the word, republic, you wouldn't have a monarch over your state, because republic, you're supposed to be a sovereign state. But like I said to you earlier, the Queen is still the head of the Commonwealth. Now, here are some countries on the continent of Africa which uses the word republic for their nations. Tanzania is one, South Africa, Nigeria, right? Kenya is another example. The Gambia. They use these words, they incorporate the word republic in their nations, yet they're under the Commonwealth. That's very interesting. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section below. And if this is new to you, then hit the subscribe button, because we're going deep here. Now, many people have argued the point that the Queen is just a ceremonial head and she doesn't have anything to do directly with those countries. It's a fair argument. But I just want to take you back to a few years ago. Do you remember the former president of the Gambia in West Africa, Yahya Jammeh, when he decided to leave the Commonwealth? In fact, he did leave the Commonwealth. The Gambia is one of the first countries, right, in modern times to ever leave the Commonwealth, right? Not too long after that, many forces came up against him, if you remember that. And he lost the election and he left the country. Now he was replaced by the current president and he rejoined the Commonwealth, and Prime Minister Boris Johnson went to the Gambia. All right? Very interesting. A few years ago, Jamaica as well wanted to have their own republic and leave the Commonwealth. Prince Harry went down there, and since then, after his visit, I haven't heard much talk about that, about leaving the Commonwealth anymore from Jamaica. So it seems somehow the Commonwealth nations, right, is still important to the powers that be, right, who controls the Commonwealth nations. So just bear that in mind. So when you say Tanzania is sold out, there are many countries, right, and if you're in the Commonwealth, you're already bought and sold. There is a saying, truth is often stranger than fiction. So where do we go from here? Well, what you need to understand is this. It's simple. It's not complicated. Every government on this planet, you need to understand the rules and regulations of those government and how the system there works and how you're going to navigate your way through that government system if you decide to live there. Tanzania, there's no different. You understand some procedures, you understand how things work, right? And you adjust yourself accordingly to how you will navigate while you're there. It's as simple as that. Now, this is something that is applied across the world, no matter where you go. You may say, well, you know what? I don't want to come to Tanzania anymore. I'll go to Ghana. Ghana, same thing. You want to go to another country, the Gambia, the same thing. It's a worldwide affair now. So you just have to know how to navigate your way through these countries wherever you decide to settle. And that's why on this channel, I don't always advocate people just migrating, taking everything straight away and leaving their place of birth or whatever, right? And outright migrating to a place. I don't push that on this channel because I won't be keeping it 100% with you. I do believe people should always visit, right? Make connections with people in the country and really understand and observe how things work there and see how they can fit in and, navigate if they decide to live there permanently. That's important. Now, the Americans in Tanzania at the moment, they have purchased land, right? Well, gold mines, I should say, correct? Gold mines, and they're doing business. But you see, they have their own structure with and connections, and they come as a group, and they have certain finances to do what they're doing, right? I'm not sure who you would like to do. You may be interested in doing volunteer work. You may be interested in coming to use the place as a place where you retire and enjoy your pension or whatever. So you may buy a property where you can have a good time, your family can visit, etc. It all depends on what you're doing. So you definitely have to bear these things in mind when you're moving to Tanzania or whatever country you decide to move. There's a difference between the government of a country in Africa and the indigenous people within that country in Africa. I'll say that again. There's a difference between the government in Africa and the indigenous people in Africa. Why do I say that? Well, the government structure on all countries within the continent of Africa is based on the colonial structure, right? I said to you in a previous episode here that in previous structure, pre-colonial structure, it was based on a tribal community structure, right? So various groups, because Africa is not a homogeneous society where it's just everyone's the same. No, it doesn't work like that. There are different tribes, different communities, different languages. So depending on what tribe you're from that area, okay? Right? The Kikuyus, they live this way. The Maasai, they're here. Maasai lands are here. Sukuma people, they live here. Okay? Chaga people, they live here. The Waswahili people, they live in this part, they speak this language. The Arabs, they live in one part. The Somali people, they live in another part. The Oromo people, they live in another part, right? So it was based on these structures, not what we have today. What we have today that's colonial times, where you have one leader, right? Imagine that. One leader for 100 set of tribes in a particular country. That leader could be from a particular tribe, right? And he don't know nothing about the other tribal groups, yet he's placed as the leader of all those people. Very interesting structure. But that was not the structure pre-colonial times. So whatever African country you decide to migrate to or settle or spend a large amount of your time in, try to have a basic understanding of how the government structure is there and how it works. Some of the policies, some of how they view foreigners, the opportunities for investment, the structure of purchasing land. If you're interested in doing that, understand these things. Have a basic understanding of these things at least. It will help you in the long run to navigate your way much more easier in that particular country. We may go to a country on the continent of Africa. You may come to Tanzania and people are friendly. Jambo, hujambo, karibu sana. That's the people. Indigenous people are welcoming people. They're happy to see you. But the truth of the matter is, those people who you're seeing, the common people you see and who are friendly with you, are happy with you, who are welcoming you, they don't make the policies. They don't make the policies. These policies was introduced through the colonial system, which is still in function today. So you have to understand the government structure. And that is when you really want to stay in a country and do certain business there, you need to see how it works. Very important. And by having these basic understandings, you will have a more favorable experience when you travel through various countries, including Tanzania, on the continent of Africa. So in the ultimate analysis, we have covered a lot of ground today. And it is clear that because of the COVID pandemic, there are certain requirements to enter certain countries. It is quite simple, easy to follow. The guidelines are there. As long as you stick to the guidelines and present what needs to be presented, your entry to the country of Tanzania or wherever you choose to travel will be fine. You need not to be overly stressed about this. I want you to take this away. If you don't take anything away from this episode, please take this away. The only thing that needs to be fair is fear itself. And don't let fear cloud your judgment from you having a wonderful experience in the country of Tanzania. We also talked about this whole issue of sellout. And we understand what's going on in regards to the Commonwealth and how even countries like Tanzania, Kenya, Ghana are still part of the Commonwealth. So understand the government structure in whatever country on the continent of Africa you will be going to. Have a basic understanding of how it works, and then you navigate your ways and movement accordingly. I am Ifeanyi, and thank you for watching Smart Up Travel. Do remember to like, share our videos, and subscribe to the channel by clicking on the red box below this video that says subscribe. Thank you.